Hello everybody, Darren Cross here. Welcome to Module 3, and this is the assignment video, and it is appearing here in Module 3, but the assignment is actually due in Module 5. So let me give you some background here. I had that message in the Module 2 folder, and everything is a little discombobulated now because I'm using a new text and kind of redesigning the course at the same time that you guys are actually taking it. And so some things are and there's a ton of moving pieces inside of each one of these courses, and so sometimes things aren't exactly where they needed to be. And so in Module 2, it was my intention for you to do the internal part of the SWOT analysis, and then in Module 4, you were going to do the external part of the SWOT analysis. But I realized, well, it wasn't even Module 2, it was Module 3 and 5. So I realized in order to have you do the assignment, my intention was for you to have 2 weeks, but you needed to have some kind of instruction in Module 2, which I did not have. So that's the reason why I'm changing it up here. And what's going on is you're actually going to do the internal and the external part of the SWOT analysis, and all of it is going to be due in Mod 5. So that'll be like in 3 weeks or so. So if you look at this, what's going on here is we're going to go from here, the SWOT, all the way. We have the internal analysis all the way down through the external analysis, which ends with threats right here. So you are not going to do the cultural assessment. Now, what I want you to do is pay really close attention to my instructions here. So when I say something like this should be 1 paragraph, I really want you to think about staying super focused on that, because whenever you start to write too much, you get off focus and you're not really answering the question. So let's go through this and I'll tell you exactly what I'm looking for. Okay, so in this first section, this is the introduction. Whenever you're writing, it really helps when you use the essay method, which is A, tell me what you're going to say, B, say it, and then C, conclude what you just said. So we actually kind of use that for each section. The conclusion isn't necessarily there. In the middle of a paper, you want to use some kind of transition or something like that. But this is the intro to the section. So in this section, you're going to intro the SWOT. Now, you guys are in an undergrad class. If you take my graduate classes, or even if you take my strategy class, the SWOT analysis that we do is quite involved. We are not doing a full SWOT analysis. We are doing an attenuated kind of mini SWOT analysis. So we're going to look at some things in the internal environment and some things in the external environment to look for good and bad elements that help or hurt our efforts to do whatever it is we say we're trying to do. But you are going to introduce it here. What is the purpose of a SWOT? What are those elements, right? So the elements are the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats that look at the internal and external environment. So that's what you're going to say. A SWOT is blah, blah, blah. It includes blah, blah, blah. And, you know, it's an analysis of the internal and external environment. Following is the SWOT analysis for ABC Corporation. Keep it short and simple. This should be 1 paragraph, 3 to 5 sentences. Okay? Then you actually go into the internal analysis. You say the internal analysis are those things that identify strengths and weaknesses. And then you'll say, for our purposes, we're going to look at 4 things, and I've given you them here: mission, resources, capabilities, and core competencies. So you actually say that. This is the intro to the internal analysis. Internal analysis looks at things related to the company. It includes, mission, resources, capabilities, and core competencies. Here is the internal analysis for ABC Corporation. Then you go into the mission. So you look at the mission and you kind of define what their mission is. At this point, you don't want to get off track. You just want to say what their mission is. What kind of resources do they have? What are they able to do? Not what they're good at. What are they able to do? What do they have the capability of doing? So kind of look around and see what they're able to do, and then what are they actually good at? Each one of these should be 1 paragraph. And then when you're doing this, you look back and analyze it in order to identify, first, the strengths, which are those things that only relate to the company. So don't talk about things that are outside of the company. Only talk about those things that specifically relate to the company that help you in your globalization efforts. List those things and talk about them. And if you need to expand, great, but keep it to one paragraph, 3 to 5 sentences. Okay? Then you identify weaknesses. What are those things related to the company that are going to hold them back from being able to accomplish whatever that globalization goal is that you introduced in the first part? Okay? So stay super focused. Each one of these headings, and keep the headings looking exactly like this, right? So you're going to just start writing right here. Take the brackets out. You're going to write here underneath this heading. But then, since this is a 4th level heading, you actually this is a 3rd level heading. So you actually start right here. And this is where you start writing. Take the brackets out, okay? So make sure you are looking at these things to assess them, and this is a 4th level heading here, so you also start writing right after it, and then just start saying what those strengths are according to what you've identified in these things. Okay? Stay super focused, and you're going to do the exact same thing for the external analysis. What is the external analysis? You're looking at things outside of the company that actually help or hurt their efforts, whatever their goal is. And for our purposes, we're going to look at the PEST analysis, which is looking at the political, economic, social, and technological things. Now, these things are outside of the company. You probably shouldn't even mention your company when you're talking about this. You don't say, ABC Corporation is very political. They do ... That's not what you're after. What you're saying is, in the political environment, this thing is going on, and it's putting pressure on my company. So what are the things that are going on outside of the company that are putting pressure on your company? Don't talk about anything that your company is doing. You are analyzing the external environment. Same here. What economic things like inflation, unemployment, disposable income, taxes, interest rates, things like that. What are those types of things that are influencing your company and what they might want to do? Social, we're talking about social trends, population trends. What are the mind shifts that people are going through? Green technology and, the push towards corporate social responsibility and sustainability efforts and things like that. These are what you would talk about under social, but do not talk about what the company is doing. You specifically want to talk about what's going on outside of the company that might be influencing their thinking or their strategy. Same with technological. Don't say ABC Corporation uses, you don't care about that. When you're talking about ABC Corporation, if there's a technological strength, that's something that you will answer here in this part, right? So you want to make sure that you're focused on the external environment. I'm stressing this because what I'm telling you is that it's very hard to keep your mind straight with this. When I do this in my grad classes, often, almost 100% of the time, I have to say to people at least once, no, that's in the external environment. Sorry about that. That's in the external environment, and we're not concerned about that here. So once you've looked at these 4 elements, things that are outside of the company that are either good or bad for their globalization efforts, then you're going to summarize them right here. The opportunities are those things outside of the company that are good and that are helpful in their pursuit of the goal. And then the threats are those things that are outside of the company and harmful in their pursuit of that globalization goal. Once you get to the end of the threats, that's it. You don't really need to do an analysis or synthesis of it, because after we do the cultural assessment, which will be in Mod 6, and the ethical assessment, which will be in Mod 7, you will do, actually, I think you do the cultural and ethical in Mod 6, and the conclusion in Mod 7, and then Mod 8 will be the final draft of this. But your conclusion is actually your synthesis, where you kind of go through things and you say, this is what we found. Based upon all of this, I think they're sitting good. They're sitting in a good position to do their thing, or they're not, and then you make some recommendations. Okay? So this assignment covers all the way down through threats, and it will be due in Mod 5, which is July 9th by midnight. Of course, along the way, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Good luck, everyone.